Greetings and welcome. My last video, I gave my year-end review, but I left this card off because I hadn't received it yet. This showed up in my mail on New Year's Eve, which is a great way to end 2022. And it is the 1962 Post, Johnny Unitas. I think this is such a great card, and it's a great addition to my Unitas Master Set. You would really be surprised how few Unitas cards I own for being a collector and chasing his Master Set. But since he's my all-time favorite player, I'm extremely picky when it comes to buying his cards and with how they fit into my budget. There are many of these postcards that were short printed or more scarce. Lucky for me, Unitas wasn't one of them, and it was said that he was found on at least 5 different cereal boxes, the most of any player. The next couple of cards I'm going to show are gifts for my dad's birthday. Referencing my last video, I said I may go on a buying hiatus to save money for bigger cards, and I think I will be doing that with the exception of any 1957 Topps football that I need and it comes up. However, I bring this up because these are gifts and they do not come out of my hobby budget. But I get the love of basketball from both my parents, but my dad is a huge Atlanta Hawks fan. Before they were in Atlanta, the Hawks were in St. Louis from 1955 to 1968, and the origins of the Hawks are traced back to Buffalo, New York. But anyway, he's a little young to have enjoyed the Bob Pettit era and grew up watching Zelmo Beatty, Paul Silas, and one of his favorites, Lou Hudson. Now this, it's very well centered. It's a little off top to bottom, but this is a beautiful example of the 1970 Topps. And I'm pretty sure this is also 1970 Topps. I'm pretty sure he does not have this one, and this Lou Hudson is going to be an upgrade for him. I'm not going to go into too much detail about Lou Hudson, although he deserves it. And I should do a player profile on him, but Hudson is from North Carolina and was recruited by Dean Smith, but chose to attend the University of Minnesota and was the 4th overall pick by the St. Louis Hawks in the 1966 draft. Hudson was so athletic, he was also drafted by the Dallas Cowboys as a wide receiver with their last pick in 1966. He was nicknamed Sweet Lou because his jump shot was so smooth, and YouTube him, you'll see that it was. He was one of the more prolific scorers of the 70s and was inducted in the Basketball Hall of Fame last year. A lot is said of how easy it is to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. But in my opinion, they really righted a wrong by inducting him. So I was glad to see he got in. When the franchise left St. Louis, Hudson scored the first points in Atlanta Hawks history. And in 1970, he and Pete Maravich formed one of the most dangerous scoring duos in the league. So this is the big card I am giving my dad for his birthday. It's one he doesn't have. He has told me before how ecstatic he was when the Hawks originally drafted Maravich, and Maravich went 3rd overall in the 1970 draft. And in case you're wondering, Bob Lanier went 1 and Rudy Tomjanovich 2. But again, the card is very well centered, a little off north to south. But east to west, it's pretty good. In the 1960s, there was one nationally televised game, and fans would tune in hoping it was going to be LSU. And that's kind of where my dad would see the wizardry that was Pistol Pete. And when he went to Atlanta, he was an instant fan. I picked the card up at my LCS. I wouldn't say I got a great deal on it, but having to not pay taxes and shipping, it was pretty much what the comps on eBay are for the card. I know a lot of collectors, they don't like the tall boy cards. It doesn't bother me as much, especially with basketball. I love the 70s set. I'm always a fan of the bold backgrounds. And centering is one of the biggest obstacles when buying cards from the 1970 Topps basketball. There is some short prints. The Havlicek card is probably the most notable of the short prints. And the Pistol Pete is the most coveted card, which I get. It's the first card of someone who averaged 44 points in college. And that was before the three-point line and before the shot clock. Plus the NCAA rules had, they prohibited freshmen from playing on the varsity team. So if that rule isn't in place, his collegiate numbers would be even more staggering. He made impossible shots look easy. He saw passing angles the majority of players couldn't comprehend. And I think geometry teachers could have lessons based on his passing angles. And again, it was all before the three-point line. That came into existence in 1979. Maravich retired in 1980. He blew his knee out in 1978 and wasn't the same after. He was before his time and would be a superstar in today's game. I mean, imagine with today's spacing on the court, you'd have to defend him 20 feet from the hoop, 25 feet from the hoop, and would leave the rest of the floor open for him. I think he's an unreal player in today's game. That's all I have for you today. A little Unitas. A couple Sweet Lou's. And Pistol Pete. I appreciate you watching and enjoy your collection.